a very conservative state, and I think that's part of the reason that North Dakota was targeted. Although the local sponsors say that it didn't come from outside, if you compare the bills from around the country, they're certainly very similar. We are conservative. They knew they could probably get this through, and they did, despite the fact that there are, I think, a number of North Dakotans. I was listening while we were waiting for you and heard the representative from Minnesota say she'd made a politically expedient vote. I feel that there are a number of my colleagues who made politically expedient votes on this issue.
Talk about your relationship with Governor Dalrymple. You've been a longtime friend of his. Where you stand, what his attitude is toward this, why he signed these. Did it surprise you?
I haven't talked to Jack, but we have a 40-year friendship. And I guess I was very hopeful. I knew that this was a tough decision for him because of the political climate in this state. But I was very hopeful that he would, in fact, veto them. My disappointment is huge at this point, and he'll still be my friend, but I'm extremely disappointed.
I wanted to turn right now to Tammy Crow, director of the Red River Women's Center, North Dakota's only abortion clinic. Tammy, what do these laws mean for you? And go through them one by one.
Well, House Bill 1305, which is the sex selection and genetic abnormality, we're looking into the impact of that one. I've never had a woman present at our clinic who says, I'm having this abortion because of the sex of the pregnancy. And by the time a genetic abnormality is found, most women are past the point where we can see them at our clinic. We go to about 16 weeks. House Bill 1456, which is the heartbeat bill, and I'm glad that you said 6 weeks or sooner. 6 weeks into pregnancy is actually 4 weeks from conception. So that's even earlier than some people are realizing. They didn't come right out and say it has to be detected by a transvaginal ultrasound, but we can assume that's what they mean. They didn't want to jump into that fray, but that one's the most blatantly unconstitutional, and we're so thankful that the Center for Reproductive Rights has vowed to challenge that. SB 2305, which is the admitting privileges bill, we can just look to Mississippi, where the same type of bill has been passed. The very qualified physicians there have been unable to gain admitting privileges, partly because the hospitals don't want to jump into this contentious battle. And the bill limited our ability to try and gain privileges at only 2 hospitals within 30 miles. And one has a requirement that you have to have at least 10 admissions a year. Well, there's absolutely no way that we'll be able to meet that standard. We've had one woman in 10 years who's been admitted to the hospital. And any physician who admitted 10 patients a year simply wouldn't be welcome at Red River Women's Clinic. That would mean they weren't a competent physician.
How will you continue with your clinic, the only one in North Dakota, Tammy? How is this going to change your daily operations?
Well, first of all, none of the bills go into effect until August 1st. So we definitely have time to attempt to see if there's any way that the hospitals will give privileges to our physicians. The House Bill 1456, the Center for Reproductive Rights, will surely file a temporary injunction to stop that bill from going into effect. We go to court with the state next month in April on a bill that they passed in 2011. So we're already engaged in litigation with the state, and a judge in that case did give us a temporary injunction, because judges give those injunctions because they feel that the plaintiff will prevail. And that was on a medication abortion case, not this much more blatantly unconstitutional House Bill 1456, the heartbeat ban. So what we want to reassure our patients, and we've put on our website and on social media posts, is that we're open, we're still here, we're still able to offer abortion services, and I believe that we will prevail. And unfortunately, this will just be a giant waste of time, energy, and taxpayer dollars.
On Tuesday, North Dakota Governor Jack Dalrymple called on the state's legislative assembly to appropriate funds for the Attorney General to defend the newly passed anti-abortion measures. Meanwhile, a conservative nonprofit group, Liberty Counsel, has offered to defend the laws pro bono, saying, quote, costs should not be a part of Governor Jack Dalrymple's decision to sign or veto the bills. Without life, all other rights are irrelevant, they wrote. This is a comment of North Dakota State Senator Margaret, who supported the bills.
you know, there are lots of organizations that have lined up and said that they will defend the state in these life bills. There's the Liberty Council, Thomas More Law Society. Many organizations are standing ready to join with our Attorney General, and they have sent us emails saying they will bear the entire cost to defend these bills.
Let's go to her colleague, North Dakota State Representative Cathy Hawkin in Bismarck. Legislator Hawkin, talk about the forces outside the state that are involved in this legislation.
I was not aware of that last little bit about. I'm in the House, and Senator City obviously is in the Senate, and we don't visit all that often. That leads to the point of this is outside forces. There isn't any doubt that these are people who are trying to move our state in a direction that I don't believe the majority of the people here do. I'm hopeful that the constitutional amendment will be defeated. And that was part of the reason I was hoping that Governor Dalrymple would veto the other bills, because we do have a bill or a constitutional amendment that's going to go to the people, and we could let the voters decide. It wouldn't cost the state the legal money, and we could put it to good use doing education funding or child care funding. There's so many needs, and to do it in court just seems like not a valuable use of money.
The Personhood Amendment, State Representative Cathy Hawkin, explain.
It's terrifying. Medical advances have enabled us to do in vitro fertilization. I have many friends that have grandchildren because of this wonderful medical advancement. My husband gave his brother a kidney, and as a result, my brother-in-law is alive. This kind of legislation could prevent that. End-of-life decisions could be excluded so that you would be kept alive whether you chose to or not. You would have no control over your life. So the embryo gets citizenship bill is terrifying.
I wanted to go to a clip of the so-called Personhood Amendment that would endow fertilized eggs with all the rights of U.S. citizens. This is the first time both the State House and Senate have approved such a measure, which would effectively outlaw abortion. Gualberto Garcia-Jones, legal analyst for Personhood USA, which backed the measure, said the amendment, quote, takes the pro-life plank of the GOP platform and puts it into practice. Furthermore, it allows the legislature the needed flexibility to implement the specific protections of the right to life through future legislation. We'll end with Tammy Crow, your response to this and the role of groups like Personhood USA. Very quickly, we have 30 seconds.
Well, these groups come into states that they think are vulnerable, and they push their own agenda on these states. And as Representative Hawkin has said, I don't believe this is what everyday North Dakotans want. They don't want outside forces coming in, and it's just absolutely disgusting that some of these legislators, not Cathy Hawkin, have allowed this to happen in our state.